Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to succeed, but almost no one's ready to do what it truly takes. They show up once, then disappear. They post once, then vanish. They train for a week, then quit. But success doesn't reward effort, it rewards repetition. Not who's loudest on day one, but who's still grinding when it's dull. Still pushing when no one's cheering. Still locked in when motivation fades. You don't need talent. You don't need perfect timing. You just need to keep showing up again and again. Hour after hour when it's hard. When it's awkward, when no one's watching. That's the difference. Not luck, not brilliance, discipline, grit, repetition. While they chase shortcuts, you build wins. While they give up, you're still in the fight. And in the end, it's not the most gifted who win. It's the most relentless and the ones who show up every damn day. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants the body, the cash, the praise, the results. But very few are willing to do the boring and lonely grind that it takes, day after day after day. Because the truth is, repetition doesn't look cool. It doesn't feel epic. It's not a highlight reel. You think waking up at 4:30 in the morning, tying your shoes and stepping into the cold with no one around is fun? You think picking grilled chicken over takeout, books over distractions, hard truth over easy comfort is glamorous? Not at all. But it works. That's the difference between those who say they want it and those who actually get it. It's not about one perfect day. It's not about one moment of hype. It's about what you do when the hype fades, when nobody's texting you, let's grind, when the gym is empty, when your body's aching and your mind whispers, you've done enough. You want to be elite. You want to build a life you don't need a break from. You want to be the kind of man no one can ignore. Then you better get comfortable doing what most people avoid, over and over and over. Because consistency isn't a burst. It's a code. It's a creed. It's a quiet agreement you make with yourself that says, I don't care how I feel. I don't care who's watching. I don't care how slow it seems. I'm not quitting. People will call you obsessed. They'll say you're extreme. They'll laugh when you leave early. They'll joke when you carry your meals or skip the distractions. Let them laugh. Because while they laugh, you build. While they rest, you rise. While they wait for the perfect moment, you create every moment. You don't owe anyone an explanation, but you owe your future self everything. And if you think repetition is boring, good. It's meant to be. It's meant to test your patience. It's meant to break the weak. So only the disciplined remain standing. You know what's better than motivation? Discipline. That cold, quiet, steel-like focus that doesn't need applause. That doesn't need approval. That doesn't wait for a new year or Monday morning. The kind of discipline that looks in the mirror and says, let's go again. You want results that last? Build routines that last. Build a rhythm that holds strong when motivation fails. Build a mindset that doesn't take days off just because you're not feeling it. You think beasts are born in comfort? They're built in the storm, in the mud, in the work no one posts about. While others scroll, you focus. While others snooze, you sharpen. While others delay, you execute. Because the truth? Most people are addicted to novelty. New plans, new hacks, new tricks. But success is addicted to repetition. It respects the man who keeps showing up again and again, even when nothing appears to change. But here's the twist.
It is changing.
With every rep, you're gaining power. With every disciplined choice, you're stacking pride. With every early morning, you're creating distance. It's not about the weight you lift. It's about the weight you carry. The mental weight. The responsibility. The relentless pursuit of your mission, no matter how slow it feels. You want to lead. You want to dominate. You want to own your name? Then consistency must become your identity. It's not just what you do, it's who you are. You don't try to be disciplined. You live it. You don't hope to succeed. You prepare to and back it up with savage effort. You don't wait to feel motivated. You're already in motion, because motion builds motivation. And when the results finally show, when the respect flows in, when the world starts recognizing what you built in silence, you won't be surprised, because you'll remember every quiet rep, every early wake-up, every sacrifice no one saw, and you'll stand tall. Not because the world claps for you, but because you didn't fold. You honored the promise to yourself. That's what separates men from boys. That's what forges warriors. That's what creates unshakable, unstoppable, real success. So next time you think about skipping the grind, next time you're waiting for motivation, next time your brain whispers, just this once, remember who you are. You're not built to be average. You're not made to coast. You're here to dominate, one brick at a time, 1 hour at a time, one quiet, boring, powerful, consistent day at a time. Because consistency might not look like much in the moment, but one day it'll look like everything they ever desired, and only you will have it. The world watches the ones who don't quit. If you show up once, no one cares. Why should they? Everyone shows up once. Everyone starts. Everyone talks about doing something. But most people, they vanish just as fast. They talk big, then life gets uncomfortable. Then the hype dies and they disappear just like they always do. But you're not made like them. You're not here for a spark. You're here to build a fire that never fades. Show up for a week. Now a few people notice. Okay, he's serious for now. But they're still watching for you to quit. Watching for the excuses. Waiting for you to fade out like the rest. Because that's the pattern they've always seen. People start. People stop. But then something unusual happens. You don't leave. You keep showing up. Not just days, not just weeks, but months, years, and that's when the world takes notice. Because consistency is dangerous. It terrifies the average. It exposes the lazy. It makes the comfortable feel exposed. It forces people to confront the one thing they run from: discipline. See, when you're consistent, you don't just build habits. You build presence. You build strength, and not the fake kind people post. I'm talking about real, steady, unstoppable power earned through sweat, sacrifice, and repetition. Day after day, set after set, early mornings, late nights. No applause, no spotlight, just effort. While others chase hype, you build traction. While they search for shortcuts, you're growing roots. While they complain about the weight, you're stacking bricks. And those bricks, they become walls. They become castles. They become an empire built by your hands. And now they can't ignore you. They feel your weight. You enter the room and the entire atmosphere shifts. You don't need to speak. Your effort speaks for you. Because when you've stayed in the fire, when you've battled yourself and kept swinging, when you felt pain, doubt, fatigue, and kept moving, you're no longer a contender. You're a threat. Your name carries weight. Your work speaks louder than excuses. You're not chasing success. You're pulling it closer with every move. You've made it certain. And that's when they start asking, where did he come from? How is he doing this? What's his secret? But there is no secret. It was the quiet grind, the thankless hours, the mornings you didn't want to rise but rose anyway, the nights when your body said stop but your soul said go. Every lonely rep, every unnoticed step, every sacrifice made in silence. You stayed in the mud, you bled in silence, and now you shine in front of everyone. They thought you were just another wannabe. They didn't know you were the last one standing. Because you didn't show up to try, you showed up to take over. They don't honor starters. They honor finishers. They don't follow noise. They follow resolve. So keep showing up when you're tired, when it's dull, when no one notices, when it feels like nothing's moving. Because each time you show up, you're proving something to the world. But more importantly, you're proving something to yourself. You're not ordinary. You're not soft. You're not part of the crowd. You're a fighter. You're the one who kept going when it wasn't exciting, when it wasn't fun, when no one was clapping. You kept pushing when every voice said that's enough, but you knew the truth. Enough is never enough when greatness is the aim. You didn't want attention. You wanted evolution, and now the world watches because they can't ignore it. The man who won't quit becomes a storm no one can stop. He becomes legacy. So stay focused, stay sharp, stay cold. Keep swinging, keep arriving, because one day you'll look around and everyone who doubted you, they'll be silent. Because you earned the one thing they never will, respect. And you earned it the hard way, the real way, the only way that lasts, through consistency, grit, and showing up every damn day. You can't lose if you never leave. Here's the truth most avoid. You weren't defeated. You walked away. You didn't fail. You stopped. You had the fire. You had the skills. You had the spark. But when it got heavy, you stepped back. You looked for easier paths. You got tired. You wanted it easy. That's when most fold, not because they lack talent, but because they lack endurance. But here's the code. You never lose if you never leave. Let that sink in, because the real ones, the empire builders, the legacy makers, they don't chase hype. They don't pursue perfection. They just refuse to vanish. Day in, day out, rain or shine, fired up or drained, they're present, putting in the effort when no one sees, grinding with no applause, sharpening in silence, because they know. Every single day they show up, they gain ground. They build power. They grow tougher, and nothing can stop a man fueled by unstoppable consistency. You think the lions on top of the mountain got there from luck? From being motivated every day? No, they got there because they never came down. They clawed, they bled, they struggled, and they stayed. They outlasted the weak. They endured the pain. And when the smoke cleared, they remained. That's the game. Not who's fastest. Not who's strongest. Not who's smartest. But who's still standing when everyone else is gone? The one who doesn't flinch. The one who shows up regardless of how it feels. That's the man people respect. That's the man the world eventually salutes. Because he's built something few ever do. Discipline. Understand this. You don't rise from doing it once. You rise from doing it every single day. Every session. Every hour. Every uncelebrated sacrifice. The progress you want, it's buried under a mountain of days you didn't want to show up for. But if you do it anyway, that's where greatness lives. You don't earn elevation by showing up once and disappearing. You rise when you decide to show up forever. And yeah, it's going to hurt. It's going to frustrate you. Some days quitting will feel easier, but those days matter the most. That's the crossroads. That's where you decide what kind of man you are. Want to be average? Walk away. Want to be forgotten? Quit. But if you want to be a force, if you want to be indestructible, if you want to be the one left standing, then stay. Stay in the grind. Stay through the pain. Stay when it's repetitive. Stay when no one sees. Because every day you stay, you transform. Every day you stay, your armor gets stronger. Every day you stay, the distance between you and everyone else gets bigger. This isn't about hype. This is about identity. Who are you when the flame burns out? Who are you when results take months? Who are you when it's just you, your grind, and silence? Because that man, the one who stays, he becomes unbreakable. So don't you quit. Don't you back out. Don't you break the streak. Keep arriving. Keep building brick by brick. Even if it's not shiny. Even if it's not loud. Even if no one notices today. Because someday they will. They'll see the body. They'll see the mastery. They'll see the life you created. And they'll say you're lucky. But you'll know the truth. You just never left. And because you stayed, you made losing impossible. Momentum lives in the daily grind. Your dream doesn't need the perfect strategy. It doesn't need genius ideas or 100 backup plans. It needs one thing. Relentless, consistent action. You don't need luck. You don't need approval. You don't need it all figured out. You just need to begin. And then, keep coming back. Momentum doesn't come from hype. It doesn't come from motivation. It comes from showing up on the hard days, on the dull days, on the invisible days. At first, it'll feel like nothing's moving. You're doing the work, putting in the time, but there's no applause, no spotlight, no prize. That's where most quit. That's where the average fold. Because they crave results, not process. But if you can fight through that silence, if you can show up when it seems like nothing is happening, you're building something unstoppable. Momentum is a quiet beast. You don't see it, but it's growing with every rep. Every early wake-up, every decision to say no to comfort, every tiny step. They're stacking up, and then one day, bang, the wall cracks, the flood starts, results pour in. And they'll say, wow, how did they rise so fast? How did they win overnight? They didn't see the storm, the long nights, the missed fun, the sore mornings, but you'll know. You'll know it wasn't magic. It wasn't one leap. It was 1,000 steps. It was those days you stayed locked in. The choices no one praised and but you made anyway. That's where momentum grows. Not in sparks, not in highlights, but in the daily, repetitive, gritty work no one else wants to do. That's the secret. It's not doing something great once. It's doing something meaningful daily. The winners don't chase pressure. They build it. They grind until they're a force nothing can slow down. So if it's tough right now, good. That means you're on track. That means something's moving. Don't stop. Don't chase ease. Don't break the pattern. Because momentum is earned. And once it's yours, it becomes a weapon. A force, the power that takes you from average to undeniable. So tighten your grip. Push harder. Keep stepping. And let the world feel the pressure of your momentum. If you're still here, if you made it to the end, you're different. You're not just dreaming. You're executing. Type I show up in the comments to confirm you stayed locked in. Let the world know you're not playing. And hey, if this fired you up, like the video, hit subscribe for more raw fuel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep going, keep building, and never fold.